Yes, Registrar, can you please call the witness back? Thank you.
Welcome back, Mr. Witness, for continuation of our proceedings after tea break.
Thank you.
I now have the honor to hand over the baton to the chairperson. Chairperson, the floor is yours.
Welcome back, Council. Can you please proceed?
Thank you. Mr. Trawally, I refer you to page 31, pages 31 and 32 of the management letter. These two deal with wrongful termination and inappropriate appointments.
On page?
Pages 31 and 32.
31, right?
Yes, 31 is wrongful termination, 32 is inappropriate appointments. Can you talk us through the issues relating to both of those?
Yeah, wrongful termination. Our audit revealed that two collectors who were appointed 8 January 2018 were dismissed in April 2020 without proper authorization. The staff in question are, their names are there. Terminations without authority run against the employment laws and regulation of local government. We recommend that the decision for the termination be explained and documented for reference. And the management response was the appointment of these two staff was on contract appointment when we temporarily short of staff and they were working once every week for 5 hours and 20 hours for the whole month. Management termed the appointment not to be in the best interest of the council. This was their response.
Did you see the contracts by any chance?
No, we haven't. For us, because there is no documentation. That's why in our recommendation, we said we recommend that the decision for the termination be explained and documented for reference. Because there was no documentation. We only see the termination, but there is no documentation, the reason or whatever. So this is for decision makers to know what actually happened, and then in subsequent audit, just to make a follow-up. Yeah.
Okay, and page 32?
Yeah, the other one is inappropriate appointment. We noted that the following appointments were made during 2019 and 2020 without following the required protocols. One, no evidence of recommendation by the Establishment and Appointment Subcommittee of the Council. Two, no evidence of notification and feedback to the Local Government Service Commission. And these were the appointments. Most of them were at the lower grade. And then their response was, it is well noted and management will take great care to make sure that all recruitments follow the laid down procedures.
Thank you. And on page 35 of the report, you have a performance review of the market and lumos. Can you give us a brief summary of the issues that are highlighted there?
Okay, we visited the weekly lumo of Farafenye and Dungu Kebe as our sample site. Weekly lumos are open market selling and buying point, drawing seller and buyers from the entire region and beyond. The council capitalized on the opportunity to collect revenue on a larger scale given the large convergence. Our inquiry with the Lumo attendant revealed that none of the two Lumos had a water supply facility. That's one. At the Ndungukebe Lumo, we observed that there was only one toilet compartment. At the Farafenye Lumo, was only one facility in place. It's not functional anymore. We had reports and evidence that people openly used open place. We also observed that there were no designated dump site at any of the Lumos. And the pictures are shown below. We have also found evidence that the poor condition had a direct effect on the revenue potential, as some vendors resist payment, citing the lack of basic service provided by the authorities. Management response is a provision of safe and clean drinking water at the Lumo areas have been discussed with the UNDP on the COVID challenge at the Lumo, and a strong promise was given to council that borehole will be dug at each Lumo site and to improve the toilet facilities at the Lumo. In fact, management is making all possible means to make sure that there is a quality sanitary condition and hygiene at all the Lumos. So far, this is it. We visited only Farafenye and Ndungukebe, and then the same situation, toilet and then the water sanitary problem is what has been highlighted. And then discuss revenue separation, because some vendors will say that the council is not providing anything for them and they are collecting duties. So, and this is not only about Kerewan, but this is a common issue in most of the provincial areas. People will say, I'm not going to pay because they are not providing any service for us.
Well, I can understand that. And I note the Kebe market, I don't believe that issue came up again in the 2020 and 2021 report for Kerewan Area Council. Can we go to that report? I know that there were other issues. There were other performance review issues.
For this report, right?
For 2020, 2021.
Oh, for 2020, 2021.
This is Exhibit ARKAC 002.
Yes, I mean that report. Which page should you want me to get?
So the performance reviews start from page 81.
Page 81, right?
There was the issue of rehabilitation of 2 feeder roads, and you indicated that the council spent $700,000 to fill potholes rather than actually making the road, the feeder roads.
Okay. Rehabilitation of Ruwan to Kerpate feeder road. We observed that there was no road rehabilitation work at Daru Ruwan to Kerpate feeder road, but rather to fill potholes at 700,000. However, the rain as well as movement of cars was the gravel used to fill the potholes, leaving the pathway dilapidated. The non-rehabilitation of the road was as a result of lack of financial resources by the council. Given the importance of this road, there might be a risk that the road condition will affect business, since vehicles will not be able to plow the road, leading to loss of funds to the region. This road might not be accessible during the rainy season. Details are shown below. And then we said the council should seek funding with the counterparts to engage the relevant authorities to construct a gravel road from this. And their response was, this is noted. The total strength of the road from Kerpate is about 8 kilometers for gravel road construction. It's about $6 million. Meanwhile, management has noted your concern. In 2015, the SDF promised to construct the road, but due to lack of funds, it could not. Council had to intervene despite its mega resources to rehabilitate the road to make it at least accessible. Council is still active seeking for funding to construct a durable road. This road is very important to council because of the revenue generated from the road.
And
Farafenni,
you indicated that the Farafenni guest house is dilapidated and that it's a guest house that was constructed by GAM Works in collaboration with the council.
Yeah.
It was dilapidated and not in use.
Mhm.
And you're saying that it shows waste of public resources which could have been diverted to other developments for the public.
Yes.
And the building will further dilapidate if not used.
Yeah.
You provided pictures
Yes.
of the
building and
building
the toilet.
and the
yeah.
toilet.
Mhm.
And you gave a recommendation. Can you tell us the recommendation and what was management's response to that?
Yeah, management should ensure that the guest house is used to serve its purpose and to generate revenue to the council. It will also be more effective if the guest house is managed with different money from the council. That was our recommendation. Council is sometimes, for their response, they say council is sometimes faced with financing problem. That is why some aspect of the project, like the guest house, will take time to be repaired. However, we have already renovated the guest house and is now fully operational. The planning director, and then no auditor for the comment. They said it has been renovated now and is in operational. So we can only confirm that.
Okay,
in
during
the
your next
subsequent
visit.
audit.
And on the next page, in respect of the market sheds, you have highlighted that you visited the market sheds at Chila Prince,
Sheila Prince.
Darul and Gain Sanja, and they were constructed in 2021 at $832,117, $925,000, and $925,000 respectively. And you observed that they were poorly constructed. And you said that the concrete tables, benches, and floor of the markets were dilapidated with potholes. There were animal dung scattered on most parts of the floor. There were no barriers to serve as security for both vendors and their goods from animals. The Ngayen Sanja market was not in use as vendors complained of lack of storage facilities for their products and that they cannot sell fish and meat in such a structure. You have said that this is as a result of lack of proper planning, supervision, and needs assessment for the construction of these markets. Can I just ask, were these markets there the previous year? Because when we went through the 2017-28, is it 2019? Yes, the 2019 reports, it was the market at Nungukebe that came up. Is it that you did not visit these markets?
This is a new one, built in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, built in 2021.
And when did you visit?
Hmm?
When did you visit to prepare the report? Was it 2021?
2022.
2022. So within the year, it had already dilapidated.
Yeah.
And the council's response is that the contract of sheds did not include provision of storage facilities at the site. For the dilapidated stalls and potholes, we will engage the contractor for repairs. We did not appoint a cleaner because it was agreed that the users will be cleaning their business areas on a daily basis, and the council decided that we will not be collecting revenue. I don't understand that. They would not be collecting revenue for what?
I don't understand that either. I don't know. We will be cleaning their business areas on a daily basis, and the council decided that we will not be collecting revenue. Maybe that is not clear. That should have been, because I know anyway the vendors there will be paying the money. So when they say they would not be collecting revenue, maybe that's not clear. This is something that.
And did you happen to see the contracts for those constructions?
Yes, I know, because if at all the audit team haven't seen the contract or issues, then they will flag that. They will flag that one. Or if at all there is issue with the contract, they will flag that.
Okay. Further down, you have the condition of the borehole at Kirjuma Hawa and Pakawa Ward. And you said that you observed the borehole pumping machine was not functioning. According to the Alcalo's representative, the borehole had similar machine failures twice from time of installation, wherein the community funded for its repair. He also claimed a complaint had been lodged to the council of the ward for assistance, but they're yet to receive any assistance from the council to restore the borehole. Water supply has therefore been a challenge, and as such, the village depends on nearby villages for safe drinking water. We also noted that 3 taps were installed rather than 6 as specified on the contract document. This was as a result of lack of supervision of works during and after project's completion by the council, planning and development unit, and the ward councillor, who did not inform the council of the faulty machine. From the 2019 report, we had talked about a borehole, but I don't believe that it was in this particular area.
It's different. It's
a
different location. Yeah. You know, our verification, we can't go to each and every project. So we will just, for any period, we will select about 2 or 3. Because this is the whole region from, for example, from Bara to the last village. And then maybe we will only take one day, this is just one day, to be able to do all this verification, because the rest of the days we are busy on the review of the files and books and orders. So it's always a very pressing period when we go out to this council. Within 2 weeks, you have to do all this audit and then come back. Yeah. So the site visit will be on a sample basis. Yeah.
Yes, but then in instances where you have, like the borehole, is something that you needed to verify from your next visit, because they haven't updated you or they haven't given you shown you proof of those.
Yeah. We make sure that we give priority to things like this. Where they said it has been fixed, we will make sure that the subsequent visit we confirm that.
Okay. So yes, go ahead.
Sorry for intervening at this point. I just wanted Mr. Trawally to shed light on the issue of the bank accounts and balances.
On page?
I think it's on page 3, if I am correct. Did you see?
I'm going, let me just. On page 3, right?
Yes, at
For
1.3, bank
2019, 2020.
2018 and 2019.
The previous report.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry for taking you back,
No,
Council.
that's fine. Let me
Because
go
I
back.
noted this and I did not, before we close with him, I have just some few questions. At page 3, 1.3, bank accounts and balances. If you look at 2018, you indicated that the closing balances for 2018 was, is that 9,527.79 or 9,527.79? And for 2019, it's 17,212.36. And these are the various bank accounts, that is EcoBank, Trust Bank, GT Bank, Reliance, First International Bank, and Access Bank. Now, I want you to clarify for us, you understand, whether the closing balances of 2018 was the opening balance for 2019. And if that is the case, you explain. If that is not, you explain why, you understand, the differences or whatever it is.
Yeah, you know, actually the closing balance of any account for a period automatically should be the opening balance for the next period. And if there is any difference, any reason for that, for the difference, that should be explained, clearly explained. But naturally, the closing balance at the end of the year should be the opening balance and then any other transaction. Yeah. So this wasn't the case. That's why, among the reasons, that's why we said the accounts are not true and fair.
Okay, so let's see page is page 10.
Page
This
10.
is also, yes, page 10, which is 4.0, financial statement for the year ended 31st December 2019. This is 4.1 is the income and expenditure accounts, and you can see that total revenue was 16,404,129, and expenditure, total expenditure was 15,100,654.
Yeah.
And surplus of revenue over expenditure was 1,303,475,000.
Yeah.
And can you explain why you had an adverse findings, even though there is a surplus of revenue over expenditure? You understand? The year ending 2019.
You know, to report that there is a surplus of revenue, and then you cannot explain or confirm, you yourself, where that, how do you arrive at that surplus of revenue, is another thing. To report something, I have this surplus of revenue, but how did you arrive at that surplus of revenue? You cannot explain. The records are not there, and the evidence, the documentations are not there, and then the way you treat to arrive at that one, you are not following any accounting principles, then the auditors are, they are saying, then your reporting of this surplus of revenue is not true and fair. That's why they are not supported with any evidence, and they have not followed the required financial management procedures to arrive at that.
Thank you. That is what I wanted you to explain. On the page 11, at page 11, 4.2, trial balance. You can see that under the credit column, you have 19,753,902. And on the debit column, you have 19,757,902,000.
Yeah.
So in this trial balance, it reveals that what was credited is what was debited. Can you
Which
explain?
page is that? Which page again?
Page 11. Can you explain
Page 11.
the exactitude of this on this table?
Yeah, page 11. 4 point what?
This is 4.2, trial balance.
Okay, trial balance.
Yes.
Okay. But are you reading a particular finding? Oh?
No, I'm not reading any particular. I'm asking you general question.
Okay, say it
based on
again.
what I
Ask
can-
that question because I didn't open. I was just answering.
Yes.
No.
I'm just looking at what is
The
on
note.
the table.
Okay,
Yes.
you said say that again.
Yes, I said on the credit column you have 19,753,902,000, which was credited, and what was debited was 19,753,902. I said you explain to us the exactitude of what is contained in this table.
You know, the trial balance is just this is a record of the account balances, the ones that need to be debited and then the ones that need to be credited. Every transaction, it has a debit entry and a credit entry. So if you have any transaction, before you prepare your financial statement, you have to prepare your trial balance so that accounts that are having a debit balance will be recorded at the debit column, and the ones that are having a credit balance will be recorded at the credit balance. So you use this one now, to build your financial statement. So at the end of the period, it should balance. What you have at the debit should tally with what you have on the credit. If there is any difference, that need to be investigated and then explained. So the trial balance would balance at the end of the day. Period. What you have at the debit and what you have at the credit should balance. Yeah. If there's any difference, it needs to be explained. So it is normal.
So further to this, you have on a table where you indicated if we can use the same table, where you have Office of the Chairman, you have the debit was 1,825,000. 2022, 291. You know, was there any, what was the particular expenses under the office of the chairperson to amount to this?
Yeah, let me read the notes, because the notes should tell us. I know these are the operational expenditure of the office of the chairman.
Yeah.
This will be the chairman's salaries, allowances, and the councillors, and the rest of the councillors.
Okay.
Normally, but the notes should be able to explain this. So if you look at this one, the notes, they are just putting the figures, but the notes were not actually explaining what are some, but I know basically it's the expenses on the office of the chairman. That's the salary, allowances for the chairman, and then and the councillors for the period, for the whole year. But the notes should, it should get into details to explain, this line item. We know that's what it is all about, but the notes should be there to explain, so that outsiders or any reviewer can actually know what it is all about. Yeah. So these are some of the weaknesses that makes us to come up with the opinion that we came up that it is not true and fair, because the notes are part of the financial statement.
So you did not have any opportunity to know the breakdown of what made up this 1.8 million?
1.8 million, we will know is the salaries and allowances, but for us knowing, because of our background, we are auditors, but the report is not for us. Okay. It's not for them who prepared it, but it's for the external reviewer. Because hadn't been that note is there, even you would not even have asked this question. So that is why, and then the report is for you, the stakeholders, those who are not part of the council and they are not auditors. The accounts should be prepared in a way that they can read and actually know what these things consist of. But this is about their salaries and their allowances for the period, for the year, the chairman and all the councillors. But they haven't put that note there.
Yes.
To explain in detail.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, if you look at also on the administration, you see that the expenses were 2,787,888,000. So those ones also, is it the same explanation goes for that amount of money? Did you have any verifications for that?
Yeah, it should be. This one also is the same type of expenditure on administration. But if you look at the administration, for example, office of the chairman, the administration, there should be a column for note, note 1 or note 2. Then you will just go to that note, and then that note will explain this 2.7 million. This is the expenditure on this, so and so, and then explain it in detail so that you readers will be well informed. So this was lacking. And these are some of the reasons why we said the accounts are not true and fair, because it lacks some of these notes.
So it also, the same explanation goes
Yes,
for finance, which is 3
yes.
3
Any
million.
figure you see here, the notes should be there to explain what it is, so how did they arrive at that figure and what does it entail.
Okay.
Yeah.
So which means on the finance, 3.2 million was expended, and you couldn't have anything to explain. The market also 1 million plus was expended.
That will also be the salary and allowance for the market. They divide this thing into office of the chairman, the administration, the finance department, the market decision, the internal audit for the year.
Yes.
So this is just but that is not enough. The figures are here, but you should be able to explain. You can say the salary for the finance, this is a salary and allowance for 5 staff at the finance department, they are monthly, this thing, just to give a breakdown. But that was lacking. So all the figures was the same thing.
Yes, on that development, there is an amount of 2,906,651. Was there any projects that substantiated for this amount of money spent?
There is no note, sorry, but I know this will be these rehabilitation works, these markets, and then I just want to, because the notes should be able to explain better, but there was no note. But I know these developments are these road works and these markets that they are building, their counterpart contribution to GAM works, they are mainly on that.
So is it the same trend in 2020, 2021?
Yes.
You still did not have notes to explain some of these expenditures?
I can go to 2020 and 2021 and
just
confirm.
To see whether and just to respond to whether it is a different scenario or is the same scenario.
Whether there is improvement.
Yes.
Well, as far as the opinion is concerned,
It's the
is still
same.
adverse.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
still
same.
adverse, the same
Okay.
adverse opinion. Yeah, so
All right.
even if there is improvement,
That-
but it's not significant enough to change the opinion of the auditors.
We appreciate that statement.
Yeah.
If you go to page 4,
Of the same report, right?
yes, of the same report,
Okay, let me go back then. Okay.
you indicated at 1.2, and you made reference to the Local Government Act. And you said that the Act requires for them to provide at least finance, services, planning and development, and administrative departments or units. And apparently what you found was that these were not in place. So is it the same that you found in 2020 and 2021?
I can only confirm that in this report.
Okay.
Because anything that has been reported and then not regularized, then the subsequent report is, because if I'm here, to be honest, I would not know each finding. That's why I will always, refer myself to the report. Because I deal with a lot of reports, a lot of these things, so I can't even remember what's actually happening in each council without, going to the particular report.
Okay, so can you quickly go to 2020 and 2021? Let's see whether
Okay.
these were
Okay.
sorted out.
Yeah. Yes, that's 2020, 21. I will go to the table of content. That's the yeah, for the finance and then the service and development officer, I know that one was, there is a development officer appointed. Yeah, for the period. The development officer is there.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and which other question there? You mean the notes or? And which other one?
Is
What's
that the only thing that was done? Finance, services, planning and development, and administration for this particular municipality?
Let me go. Let me just go to the prior matters now. Follow up, then I have to go to the follow up
Okay.
for this report.
Okay.
Non-identification of financial reporting framework, that one is implemented. Management vacancies not implemented. The auditor said not implemented, meaning still there is still, yeah. Weak governance not implemented. The balance sheet was implemented, and then I don't know which is your another question. The management vacancy, that one is still according to the follow-up, and then the notes to the accountant order, that one is implemented because there is a reporting framework now, they've mentioned it. Which governance is still not implemented. And then payment without signatories is still not implemented, it's still happening. Duplicate payment vouchers still not implemented. Payment not adequately supported is still happening. Unpresented deposit slip is still happening. And then, yeah. So the ones implemented are very few, very few.
Okay, if you, thank you so much. If you go to page 9.
Of which report?
Yes.
Current one?
Yes, the same report that you're looking at now, which is
Okay.
the 2018, 2019.
Oh, I went to 2020, 2020.
Yes, because
Let me go.
I referred
Okay.
you back to
Okay.
2020. Yes, at page 9, 2.1, non-preparation of key documents, stroke records. There is non-preparation of the following on the listed. Operational plan, internal audit report 2018-2019, business continuity and disaster recovery plan, IT policy, manual, training policy, internal audit plan, fuel register, quarterly revenue and expenditure report, fixed asset register. The question is, in 2020-2021, did you find that this, these documents or records were in place?
Oh no, it's still an issue.
Okay,
It's
thank
still
you.
an issue, yeah.
All right. So if you look at, if you go to page 15, you can see that there is overall understatement in the cash book.
Yes.
And you could see there is a total amount of, in the cash book, 486,105 was in the cash book, and the voucher amount was 477,023.66. And the differences found was 17,368.84.
Yeah.
And my question here is, going forward in 2020-2021, was this difference sorted out?
No, they are not.
Queries answered?
I can go to the particular query, page 15, because you have this type of scenarios happening. So at times, yeah, well, page 15, right?
Yes. I just want to quickly run through the questions I have so that we can
That's
proceed
fine.
with the...
That's fine. On posted, is it the under which 2 point what's the
2.6,
2.6?
yes.
Okay.
It's over or under statements of
Yes.
cash book.
Yeah, we traced a sample of salary payment to cash book and noted overstatement amounting to 17,360. There was also an overstatement of 8,278. And then the management respond, it is noted, and management is doing all its efforts by requesting from the Local Government Service Commission for the recruitment of an internal auditor as part of the vacant position of key area council submitted. The management response is different from the query. For us, we are like this key different, but for them, they said they will write to the local council to...
What, does this answer your question?
No, we said it doesn't. I think for them, they are like, maybe, what I can understand is like, maybe with the appointment of internal auditor, some of these things might be regular. I don't know, maybe. But we are saying this has not addressed the query, the actual query yet.
Yes, if you go to page 25, you would also note that there is a similar reconciliation of expenditure also revealed, a difference of 2 million and 23,402. So that also goes to explain that in 2020, this was also not resolved, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we go to the final page that I have as a question, an inquiry. If you go to page 40,
okay.
4.3, Annex 3, on the statement in the cash book, there is a difference.
Page 40,
amount
right?
posted, page 40. Amount posted to the cash book was 5,888,166,
Yes.
and the differences in what was amount receipted to and amount posted is 1,137,051. So it also goes. Is it the same explanation that in 2020 and 2021 these issues also were not?
Yeah. When you come to these recorded issues, understatement in the cash book, underlodgement not posted, they are still happening.
Okay.
These things are still happening.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Council.
Thank you. Mr. Trawally, I refer you back to the 2020 and 2021 report.
Okay.
Can we go to page 57?
Page 57, right?
Yes, please. There are several businesses that were not charged license and operational fees as per your review of the demand notes. And this will obviously lead to loss of revenue for the council.
Yep.
You recommended that the council should ensure the license or operational fees are charged to these businesses and ensure that they are collected on time. The management's response was that the council was adequately aware that these businesses needed to pay both registration fees and operational license for the year. That is why they were only charging them registration fees. I'm not sure that I'm clear on this. Can you assist with this response?
Yeah, on charge, lancing and operational fee, Regulation 402 of the Finance and Accounting Manual for Local Government Authorities state that it is the responsibility of the Director of Finance to ensure that all revenue or receipt due to the council are promptly collected and accounted for on a daily basis. The Director of Finance should make a proper arrangement and procedure exist for the prompt assessment of all revenue, and that appropriate measures are taken to collect areas. Every amount due to the council is promptly collected and receipted. Clear guidelines and procedures in place for this. And we've noted that some businesses were not charged for lancings or operational fees as per our review of the demand note. Details are shown below. This is the Africell customers, Comium, Gamtel, Gamcell, QCell, Celtin Frendo, James Coker, and then the other names here, individuals' name here: Jazz Cement Factory, Castle Filling Station, Jimbana Lodge, and Gambia Ferry Service. What happened was, in our report, these people were not paying the trade lance, and the implication will be the non-charging of levy of lancing or operational fees will result to loss of revenue, leading to difficulty for council to finance. And then they responded to say, council was adequately aware that this business needed to pay both registration fees and operational lancing for the year. That is why we were only charging them registration fees. However, from the beginning of this year, all have been charged, and some have even started paying their operational fees. Well, it's like they are agreeing. They are not paying, but they said beginning of this year, they all started paying.
Yes, but it is their answer just before that I was confused about, because they're saying that they're aware that they're supposed to pay for both, but that is why they were only charging them one.
They said council was adequately aware. Is that correct? Am I reading the correct answer?
Yes.
That these businesses need to pay both registration fee and operational lancing for the year. That is why we were only charging them registration fees. They don't, you know, the thing is, when they respond, we don't even make any change or any this thing in there. The sentence structure, we will only copy and put it as how it is. We will not even change the grammar or whatever. So, yeah.
Because it sounds like it should be that they were not aware rather than they were aware.
Yeah. Okay. Councils were adequately aware that, maybe they want to say they are not aware. Yeah.
Okay, at paragraph 2.2.6, on the valuation of properties, you have stated that there was a variance in the fees charged for properties.
Yeah.
You said the rate for landed properties with amenities such as electricity and those without electricity are valued at $250 and $150 respectively.
Yeah.
An additional tax of $15 was charged on houses with corrugated iron sheets, and $10 for grass huts situated on each properties. Their response was that what used to happen is council collectors will normally go around businesses and assess them just based on their own judgment. And also, these are people who are not technical in the area of valuation.
Yeah.
This is why, in some cases, they tend to undervalue properties. Council has plans to engage people who have technical know-how to work with finance department to do a proper and accurate valuation come the next assessment. But I believe this is something that came up the year before, and I think one of the responses they had given was that they had written to the ministry, and you had said that you found no indication that this was actually done.
Yes.
So the following year, or the following 2 years, they still didn't do it?
Yeah. Because even in our recommendation, we said management should liaise with the right authorities to ensure that properties are valued to meet current market value. Yeah. Because like some of these in $15 charges also on the rate, we know that these things are not realistic. So these were since I don't know.
I'm not even sure those ones were anywhere.
Yeah, so exactly. So yeah, because here they say they are using their discretion or whatever. So
Yes.
at least they should let's be the right authority to make sure that at least there is a policy that can be so that there will be nothing like discretion, people using their discretion to collect rate.
Okay. 2.2.7, your finding is that the council did not, sorry, on the unpresented lease or rent agreement, you stated that the council did not provide leases or rent agreements for Supersonics and Reliance Financial Services for properties owned by the council. There was no evidence, ledger account, to confirm that these two businesses pay their lease or rent to the council. These properties are in Bara and Farafenye, respectively.
Yeah, yeah.
And the response was that the agreement between Reliance Financial Services and council has been provided as attached for you to verify. We will look for the other agreements with Supersonics.
Yeah.
Your further comment was that the tenancy agreement provided was in respect of Reliance Financial Services, which was agreed by both parties on 1st April 2016 for a period of 5 years, meaning this agreement will be ineffective by 1st April 2020. Therefore, the council needs to provide the renewal tenancy agreement since the one provided expired in April 2020. Did you ever get the agreements, the subsequent agreements?
No, we haven't.
I refer you to page 64, which deals with overpayment of allowances. And you noted that the Director of Finance and the Deputy Director of Planning received $2,000 monthly transport allowance instead of $1,500 for the years 2020 and 2021. And their response was that this was in response to a government pronouncement when transport allowances were increased from $500 to $1,500 for grades 1 to 9 and $2,000 for grades 10 to 12. We also decided to increase based on this. They said we do not see any violation in this. And your further comments were that the evidence as per your finding indicate 1,500 and no evidence was provided for the 2,000. Management should ensure that the documents are provided or all staff paid 1,500 as approved by ministry. Did you ever get any further?
Oh, no, because I know the transport has been increased from 500 to 1,500, that one, but to 2,000 for others, I'm not aware of that. So we just requesting for a documentary evidence for the 2,000 above grade 9. We're not sure of that. But no documentation has been provided.
Okay. Page 66. Paragraph 2.4.3 on unpresented personnel files. You noted that some staff personnel files were not presented for review as listed below. You had Samba Lee, Chief Executive Officer, Yankuba Fati, Health Laborer, Mbemba Sonko, Contract, Omar Lee, Revenue Collector. And you said that management should ensure that the personnel files for these staff are provided without delay. They have stated that council staff are often rotated. This is why files of staff sometimes remain in their previous posting place. Sambali's file can be traced at Janjambure, while Mbemba Sonko and Yankuba Fati are on contract. Omar Lee's file is available for verification. What were your further comments in respect of this?
Yeah, let me read the further comment. The personnel files are not provided for confirmation, and files should be open for the contract staff and all their details filed and submitted to the office for confirmation. What we're trying to say, even if you are transferred from one institution to another, a file should be open for you for your current posting. And then even if staff are on contract, it doesn't mean that even if staff are on contract, their files shouldn't be open for them. And then the one that they said is available has also not been submitted to us.
But is it usual for their staff to be on contract. I'm just trying to verify. I think Yankuba Fati is health laborer, and Bemba Sonko, it just says contract. Is it usual for these to be, well, on contract rather than permanent staff of the council?
Yes, staff might be on contract, but it's the file. If at all the file, the document that will show the contract, how does the contract come about, the correspondence here and there. But if there is no file, it will be difficult to verify how was he appointed on contract, for how long, the payment and the like.
Okay. On page 74, your finding is that you noted that the council did not have title deeds for their properties in order to ensure ownership. These properties are not recorded on the fixed asset register, and you set out the details below. These are 23 properties, and most of them are the markets and the sheds.
The
in
car
those,
park, the lumos,
yes, the car parks, etc. And
yeah, they said council has a local authority ownership document for all lands at Farafenya and Bara. The alcalos of smaller settlements also provide alcalos ownership transfer. Most of the marketed lands has just been acquired recently, and council has planned to lease them. This was their response, because the implication is these properties might be personalized without notice by the council. So that's why we're thinking if they can have this document. But this was their title deed. But this was their response.
But they have said that they have alcalo ownership transfers. Did they provide those at least for you to verify?
No, we will verify, because this was after our, so most of the time, this response, if we are providing any response, because this means during the audit, all this has been discussed with them at the exit meeting.
Okay.
So they will not even disclose some of these things to us. So it's only when you send for them to respond, they will mention it, but they will not even provide any documentation. And then most of these things, even if you go back again, not on this particular query, but most of these things they will say it's available, it's available. If you go back again, it's the same thing, similar issues, yeah.
Page 78, you have the issuing of fuel to obsolete vehicles. You noted that the council issued out fuel to vehicles that were obsolete and not in use, as detailed in the table below. There were 3 vehicles, KAC 3, which was for finance department. You said, according to management, this particular vehicle has been redundant for many years due to mechanical failures. However, the director of finance uses the fuel allocated to it. There is no internal policy or resolution passed to justify the fuel allocation. KAC 6, you don't have the details of the department. KAC 2B is planning, and you said the vehicle is not seen.
Not seen, yeah.
And their response is that KAC 3 and KAC 2B were allocated to the finance and planning directors respectively. These people were finance and planning directors respectively. They were allocated fuel as per the council budget. When these vehicles broke down, council continued to issue them fuel in the name of these vehicles. However, we would discontinue the issuing of fuel in the name of these vehicles. These people used the fuel as per budget allocation to run the council errands. We will now stop the vehicles' names and just put their names instead. And I don't believe you have a response, a management response, but an auditor's further comment. But is that normal for them to just change the vehicle and put the names of the directors, even though there's no justification for them being allocated the fuel?
Yeah, these are serious internal control weaknesses, because like if you look at the fuel register, you are issuing fuel to this KAC, this is Kerouan Area Council 6, 3, and then 2B, as if they are allocating fuel to official vehicles. When the audit team found that these vehicles now are not in use, but now what they are saying, their explanation is saying like they are issuing these vehicles to the owners of those who are using this vehicle, but they will cease doing that and put it in their names. This is an serious internal control weaknesses, and then yeah, there is a risk that fuel might be misused without being noticed, and that's the implication, and that is very high likely to happen. Maybe they are not, these or people are not even aware that this fuel is issued in their names on these vehicles.
Because it says they're saying the specific people that it's been allocated to, so I'm sure they're aware that it's been.
But it's possible those individuals are not even.
Well, that's true.
But it's just titles. KAC3 for Director of Planning, for Director of Finance. These maybe they are not even.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So I just have a few general questions for you before I ask the commissioners. In all the reports that we have gone through, I am not sure I came across any flags in respect of collections of rates by the alcalos. This has not, as far as I can remember, have not come up in your reports at all. Do you remember coming across any of these?
Yes, maybe each and maybe this is common in the rural councils. We flag some of these things come in our queries. Percentage of payment to the alcalos. The queries are not very significant because the collection by the alcalos is normally done at the rural councils, where the alcalo will collect and they will take a percentage.
Yes.
They will maintain it, and then the rest will be, So some of the reports, they are flagged, they are mentioned, where the percentage of the alcalos has not been withdrawn, or maybe, deduct or pick more than, what is required. It's not a very common finding because, it's risk-based. The risk there is not very high, and then the amount involved, because most of these collections by the alcalos are not that very effective, at the village. If you look at them individually, they are not very of high risk nature. Yeah, but it's flagged in some of our reports. Yeah.
So do you think if rates collections or rates payments, operational license fees, whichever it is, do you think it would assist the councils if these are paid directly to, say, banks or a designated collector or collection point in the different councils, rather than paying the cash directly to the councils?
Yes, places like, but if you said the most effective this thing will be to pay it to the banks, because anything that deal with the movement of cars is risk, is of high risk. We all know that how tempting cars can be. But again, if you look at some of these councils where they are, some of these villages, there is no bank.
Yes,
so if you just want to limit it to, you have to make all payments. Or I might even be having cars today, and then to pay, go and pay my rates. But going to the bank, maybe I go to the bank, there are a lot of queue or whatever, then I would prefer to go and then just pay cars and then again. But I think just to have controls in place. If somebody paid cash, you make sure that there should be daily banking. Because even if you pay to the area council cash, and they make sure that by the close of the day, they went and deposit this, and the risk is still minimal. But the thing is, if you just want to say all payments to be done at the bank, it can also lead to some revenue, because people might have cash and then but going to the bank, or maybe the bank is very far, so it can lead to people not paying the rates for the year.
No, but so that's why I said either banks or perhaps a collection point that has been designated. I mean, the idea, I think, is you have a register with all the properties, all the businesses within your area. You have a fixed fee, a schedule that everybody can see, the banks can see, the people who live there can see. So there's less reason for non-payment by the people who live or work or have businesses in that area. So if there's a designated collection point, it might not be a bank, it might be some other sort of financial institution that is within that jurisdiction, depending on where it is. And if the requirement is that you pay, you know that you're supposed to pay by the 31st of January, for example, and you don't pay, the idea is that it's easier for the council to collect or to summon you, or basically to enforce payment, right? So do you think that it would perhaps assist in the accountability of revenue collection?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the collection of these rates, taxes, or whatever, it's a weak system in place. Even at times, you will be, even you don't pay your rent or your tenant, at times you even tend to forget about it. And I think the system just needs to be strengthened to be more robust so that at least, they will improve the collection method. Yeah, I agree. There should be a mechanism to improve the system, and then, yeah.
Okay, and then you visited the different markets in the various councils, and there are canteens, right? There's rent fixed rents that are being paid, and there's also market tickets for the stores, I believe. I'm not sure. Do you have any suggestion for effective ticket collecting? Because I think the tickets are $10 per day or something like that.
Yeah, I think they are introducing this digitalized system in Brikama. I don't know. I think they are working on this digitalized system.
Is it the POS machine?
Yes. So because that is not my area, so I would not know what method for me.
Yes.
Whatever procedure they have for us, this is how it should be. We will just review. If there's any weakness in that process, we just highlight. But being a layman in designing some of these things, I would not, maybe my recommendation might even be the worst one, so I don't want to be found wanting in that, yeah.
Okay. And then final question. Do you think trainings will raise awareness within the council? So this would be council staff, the councillors, because I've asked you several times whether you think or whether you believe that the councillors are aware of their functions and what their powers are. As well, you've raised issues about internal audit and the finance departments and how they're not, they don't seem to even know what they're supposed to do. Do you think it would assist do you think training is an issue? Is it something that would assist to strengthen the administration? And I'm not sure whether National Audit does any trainings for any of the government institutions, but what do you think?
Yes, I think training, I think most of it has to do with the control environment, because these training workshops or this training thing, 1 day, 2 days, we are very good in organizing that, but what do we, at the end of the training, what next? So I'm not even a very much familiar of organizing these training workshops here and there, but from National Audit, yes, because we have this stakeholder engagement as part of our strategies. I believe even next week we are organizing one. And then we used to organize this stakeholder engagement with our auditees, different stakeholder, but our auditees at times we will organize one for them. And then the area council, even about a few months ago, we organized one, and then all the area councils were invited. We will do a presentation for them, about some of these issues, some of the constraints, and then the implication of, not submitting this fund. And then we'll give them the opportunity, also the constraints that they are having. And then we've also organized a training for them. That wasn't this year or last year, but we also organized a training for them, a presentation. But most of the time, ours will just be a presentation. Some of these weaknesses, what caused them or whatever. But I believe the Accountant General also, this training, I think the Accountant General will have a responsibility, because they are responsible for the financial management, how to keep these funds. And then they were trained on the IFMIS system, the CEOs and the finance directors. So we believe the training will basically be from their side. For us, it's just to, call them, the engagement, just to say some of the risks, what they are doing, how to improve it, and then if they are not doing it, the implications, and if there is any gap as far as auditing is concerned, just to sensitize them to have an effective to have an effective audit and make sure that they know how to address these audit issues. We organize that engagement at least every year.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'll hand you over to the commissioners. That's all I have for you for now.
Thank you.
I have just few questions with respect to the 2020-2021 audit report.
Okay.
But it's just to give short and brief answers because you've extensively gone through it. But I just want you to clarify one or two things. If you look at page 35 of the year ending 31st December 2020 and 31st December 2021, at page 35, which is at point 5.1, it says cash and cash equivalent. It indicated that in 2020, the revenue collection account, development account, recurrent account, which is which totaled to 1,365,260.36, and in 2021 you have 9,108,841.28. My question here is, you could see that they listed the banks, which is Access Bank, Trust Bank, EcoBank, Reliance, and GT Bank, and you have 0 across the board. Can you explain what this means?
On 5.1.
Yes.
Yes.
5.1, cash and cash equivalent.
Yes. You said what specifically is the question?
The question is, you could see that with respect to Access, Trust Bank, EcoBank, Reliance, and GT Bank, you have 0, whether it is whether interest was not paid or whether the transaction was not done. We are not clear as to what is representing
But
this.
that's 5.1 under 2021, right?
Yes, page
Page-
35.
Do I have that page?
That is the
Order
2020 and 2021. Page 35.
And this is 2020-2021 report, right?
Yes.
I have page 33.
35, 35.
I didn't see. I know page 33. I have cash and cash equivalent.
Yes, that is what I'm...
2021, the description, revenue bank account,
Yes,
revenue
that is
collection
exactly
account.
the one, yes.
Total to 3,918,841.
Yes, for 2021, and 1,1,3,635,226.36. Can you explain
On page 36, right?
on page 35?
Because what I have on page 35, maybe it has to do with, but it should be the same. Okay.
It's the same. It's
because-
cash and cash equivalent. I just want you to explain the differences in 2021 and in 2020.
No, the difference, because that is for them to, because that's why you have the comparison figure.
Okay.
Cash and cash equivalent, this has to do with the physical cash or items that you know you are about to receive them. Cash and cash equivalent, But the difference between 2020 and 2021 should be explained in the note. This one has changed from these figures to these figures. The reason for the changes is their responsibility to explain that. And then so the readers will know, oh, this is what actually happened. Then auditors for us is just to say whether their explanation is in line with the policy or the best practice also. Then if it is not genuine, then that will have an impact on our opinion. But in this case, it is not explained, so I will not be able to know why.
And that is why we are also having difficulty in
Exactly.
appreciating this.
And that is why we said the account is not true and fair. Because these notes explanation are all part of the account's preparation. So if they are not there, then we have no option but to say it is not true and fair.
Okay, if you
Yeah.
go to page 36, you have receivables under 5.2. And is it the same explanation?
Yes.
Because in 2020 you have 3,101,000, and in 2021 you have 2,481,000.
Yes.
And when you go to 5.3, you have payables. 2020 you have 000. Then recurrent creditors you have in 2021 2,113.60. And you have the total being 2,113.60.
Yes.
So also it's the same explanation,
It's the
right?
same, anything you see, yeah,
See.
yeah, because these are the reasons, you know,
Okay.
because the year, because you don't expect 2020 and 2021 to be, there must be some different variants.
Yes.
So the notes, that's the purpose of the notes. You should explain this is about this. If there's any variance, you explain why that variance, so that readers will be informed. But if that is not there, then readers are not informed. So if readers are not informed, then the auditors will say the accounts are not true and fair, but they are not serving the purpose.
Okay. So like it also goes to goes further in 6.1 license. In 2020 you have income of 7,234,266.32, and in 2021 you have 10,725,585.38. Even though you don't have, you have explained extensively the fact that you did not come across asset registers, you understand, to determine the properties, the taxes, and all that. So it also goes to
because
the
ideally
same
this could
explanation.
be maybe the increase in the subs or the what, but you know that's not for us to explain. It should come clearly in their notes. Yeah.
Okay, so if you go to 6.2, there is this issue of other revenue. Can you kindly explain, because in 2021 there is indication that there is 20,376,646.34, and in 2021 you have 12,177,493.55. That is the total. So it also goes to the same explanation. You do not have any.
Because they said other revenue, subvention for specific activity, 2 million, interest, dividend, rent fee. So these things need to be explained. If you say subvention, so where does it come from? The interest on dividend, you need to explain. But it's the same thing. So all these things, there is no note to explain, so we can't tell.
Also, what we noted and what we wanted clarification is on the personnel and emoluments, that is salary, stroke salaries, we can see only a column for 2021 and nothing on 2020. And the 2021 cumulative amount paid with respect to that heading, that is personnel emolument and salaries, is 7,499,909.83. Then you go to 7.2. I'm just going through it so that you just give a general response. Pensions and gratuities, in 2020, what was expended was 504,592.53. And in 2021, 420, 805,000.75. So you could notice also here that there is decrease in, you understand, these payments. Then you go to 7.3, consumption of goods and services. In 2020, the expenditure was 5,621,584.47. In 2021, you have 4,953,327.13. So then they said they had capital development. The capital developments they have, the capital expenditure they have done on development. For 2020, they spent 12,666,978.50 on capital development. And in 2021, they expended 6,977,385.92. Then when it comes to finance cost, that is bank charges, etc., they said in 2020 they expended 55,679.76, and in 2021 they expended 27,824.54. So I believe that you have explained extensively. So all of these numbers, you couldn't have justification, and that is why you said the findings were advised.
Yeah, and then even if you look at them, like capital and development expenditure, you see line items that you know, naturally, they are not capital items.
Yes.
But and then you go to even the goods and services, consumption of goods and services, you see things like training,
Yeah.
You know, they are not, you know, as auditors. So, and then this is what they use to build their fund, but there is no explanatory note. Because if you say training, you didn't tell me what that training is all about. Before I conclude to say, training is not under, you have to explain what are you talking about. So for us, overall, the conclusion will be, this account that you submitted is not true and fair. It's adverse.
Thank you so much. I will have Commissioner Fall to ask you questions.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Mr. Trawally, I want to thank you very much for taking us through the audit reports of all the councils. And it's rather alarming, I will say. Thank you very much. And during the exercise, you really explained the role or the mandate of the National Audit Institution, and during your audit exercise, how you formulate your findings. One is, for example, you can issue an adverse finding where the records are there, but then they are not fair and thorough. And then secondly, you could also issue a disclaimer where you cannot find any reports. And at the end of the day, you finalize your report. First, you send a draft, and then expect a response from the various councils. If a report is not forthcoming, you finalize your report. And at the end of the day, it comes to the implementation of those reports. And my colleagues here have put it to you, or they have asked you, why is it that the various audit reports are not being implemented? And you talked about the oversight responsibility of certain institutions. And here it is the parent ministry, the Ministry of Local Government and Lands, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance. But then you also have the National Assembly as an other oversight institution. And in your recommendation, you expect remedial action to be taken. And if it is a continuous, if it is a reoccurrence and nothing is done about it, then in fact that is the end of the report. The Local Government Act clearly talks about devolution of powers to the local councils. And one of those is the devolution of finances and competencies, responsibilities. And that is in line with the constitutional provision of decentralization. That is service delivery at the local level, the farthest of the farthest in our communities. But with what we have seen from the audit reports, and for the councils clamoring about autonomy, they want to be autonomous, they want to be given the autonomy. With all we have seen, do you think that the councils have the financial capacity in terms of management of finances and devolved institutional responsibilities to manage their affairs when autonomy is, or if autonomy is given to them? Seeing what is prevailing now, that reports are done or the reports exercises are carried out, and then when it comes to implementation, oversight responsibilities or institutions are not taking their responsibilities to make sure that audit reports, recommendations of audits are implemented. So my whole question is about the future of councils as it is now in terms of financial management capability to take care of devolved responsibilities. Thank you.
Yeah, to answer your question, usually to answer a question that is not in my report is difficult, but from experience, I can say it's in twofold. To answer the question now, in terms of managing the finance of the council, currently, a lot of work needs to be done. The people managing the finance of the councils, definitely something needs to be done about it. The competency is questionable. And then again, whether they can be given this autonomy, whether it's going to help. Again, maybe they can say, it is not, councils can say, it is not our problem because we don't appoint our finance directors, we don't appoint our CEO, I don't care. It's the ministry, it's the central government. Whatever happened is them, it's their staff. So I'm not going to put an extra mile, but if I know that now the power is me, to appoint my finance director, if there is anything I have to get accountable of my action, then maybe if my finance director is not doing what he or she is supposed to do, I have to take an action. I have to take that responsibility because I know it's on my head, rather than saying it's not my problem, it's the staff of the central government who are imposing it on them. This could be another reason. Another thing is the autonomy. If the central government are ready for the autonomy, they would say that, you know what, we have to restructure before we can give that autonomy status. Because to be autonomy doesn't mean that you will have that 100% independent. National Audit Office is an autonomy institution, but that doesn't mean that we are not accountable by the central government because we report to the National Assembly. We cannot do whatever we want to do. We are still part of the system. So the central government can say we are to make council autonomous, but to give them that autonomy status, we have to do a radical restructuring. We cannot just, with the way things are going, we cannot just say we give them their autonomy. We have to do a radical restructuring for all the council, bring competent people, bring systems in place, restructure all the council, revise their paying structure and then everything, and then all the staff that are in council overstaff, we have to eliminate that and then make sure that their autonomy structure is there, and then they will still be answerable to their action and they will be accountable for their action. This will be my answer as far as that question is concerned.
Any more questions?
Yes, Chairperson. My question is in twofold. First is, Mr. Trawally, you have lamented this past 2 days about the inefficiencies of the councils in rendering a financial statement. Is it from your perspective that the recruitment of staff for these councils, these high-level councils, staff, should be radically looked into by the commission, the local government commission, that is their employer, to make sure that these people that they are sending to these various councils are really endowed with the knowledge to render these councils profitable or at least manageable. Is that your point of view? From all what you have lamented, they are not doing this, they are not doing that, we have sent this, we have sent that. From sitting here, it's like a record player being stuck in one place, and you're just repeating the same defect in all of the councils. The CEO, the director of finance, the clerk of the council, the internal auditor, name it. It seems to me it's a broken record that we are playing. It's just stuck with the same repetitive things that is happening with this council. My belief in being a member of this commission is to harmonize the relationship between the council and central government and the council with the people. Because if you are taxing me at a village level and you promise to bring borehole and you don't bring a borehole, you promise to bring a toilet and you are not bringing a toilet, it's cause for frustration. And if you're a council not being subvented by government, it causes frustration. And if government is not receiving the adequate information, requisite information, for them to make informative decision, it's not forthcoming from the council, it's a problem. Now, if a council, you have gone there, you have audited the council, you have all of these complaints, you have issued a report, you've sent it to the stakeholders, and nothing is being done year in, year out, it is frustrating for you also, going there, making sure you're doing your job, but nothing comes out of it. So in light of all of this, I did ask you this question yesterday. What do you need to make you emboldened, have more power to do what you think you should do? Because I think you have a good act, but it's the enforceability of some of the provisions that is causing all of this problem. Because if I should report to you, I report to you, and nothing is taken care of it, I'm emboldened to do whatever I want to do. And that has been the trend, and that is why I think, this is my personal opinion, that some of these councils have been emboldened to do whatever they want to do. And it's like a state within a state. You have the regulation, which is the act, but you are not working according to the act. You've been highlighted that you are not working according to the act, but you're still doing what you want to do. So where are we? That's my...
thank you. That's why it can be a tape player, just play and then we adjust, because if you look at it, what caused that tape player to be, playing on the same thing, is like no much difference. Even if you look at the findings, the audit report, most of the issues are cross-cutting issues. At times I'll even be in one council, you are like, are you still on the same council? Because it's the same, because it's the same people. It's the same CEOs rotating within the councils. The same finance directors rotating within the councils. And it's just 8 area councils and municipalities all together. It's the same people. Since CEOs rotating from one council to another, director of finance, the same internal auditor. So that's why it's a cross-cutting issues and they are all similar. So it should be easy to fix it if we are all doing what we're supposed to do. And then that is one. And then as auditors, we go do our finding, report it. I agree, copy the Minister of Local Government, Finance, National Assembly, the reports are discussed. At times, auditors don't enjoy this. And as you are saying, it's really frustrating. I don't enjoy being away from my family for 2 weeks, working even on Sundays, on Saturdays, on Sundays. If we are there, we work even on Sundays, because you have a tax assignment to complete and come back and report, because National Assembly need this report immediately. At times, even the audit team, you can see the frustration in them. But I will tell them, what can you do? Your responsibility is to review. And National Audit Office, this is not only limited to the councils, but you look at the recommendation, all the other directors is similar frustration. Audit reports are prepared, they are produced, nothing is being done about them. Even if the Auditor General is here, it's going to be the same frustration. And then coming to the power, as I have mentioned, now there is this surcharge. It was in the Constitution, but wasn't clear how to go about it. And then now the Auditor General is working on that. It has been sent to the Minister of Justice, so that if, this one also will have limitation. Audit reports, if the, for example, if it's a KMC, if there are audit reports and then no action has been taken, maybe the salary of the head of the institution can be suspended until something is done about it. If you go to the institution, that is surcharge. Or maybe if somebody is found wanting in an audit report, the person can be suspended, and then his salary will not be paid until something is done about it. So this surcharge, currently the office is working with the Minister of Justice to make sure that surcharge is implemented. But even that one will not going to eliminate all these things. It can just reduce, because even that surcharge also is not automatic. It will have some legal issues here and there. But I think, to answer your question, you are right. It's a cross-cutting issues and nothing much has been done. And then the second one is this surcharge now. We are working with the Minister of Justice. If it is finalized, maybe that might mitigate it a bit.
Yes, Mrs. Sek.
Mr. Trawally, what is the meaning of an extraordinary audit? And how extraordinary is it?
Extraordinary audit, I don't know the meaning of an extraordinary audit because it was, most of the time I will see this. I'm aware of special audit because for us what we have is the routine audit. That's our normal annual audit on the financial statement. At times where there is financial malpractice or something in an institution, the Auditor General has a mandate to conduct a special audit. For us, we call it special. That special audit will be like, it's not your normal audit, but something happened, and then they will direct you, you go and look at this area so and so, and then you go and do more detailed work, and then submit the report to those who requested for that audit, instead of reporting it as usual audit to the National Assembly. But I've seen extraordinary special audit, but I don't pay much attention to the heading. I said, okay, I know it is because when we see, we just look at the details. As long as we understand, maybe if they are what they are talking about, the substance, then most of the time the heading, I don't have the idea about the technicalities used on extraordinary or special audit. To be honest, I don't have that expert knowledge in those terminologies.
Questions? Okay. Mr. Trawally, thank you so much for spending time coming to enlighten us on this audit report. We are grateful for the time and for the elaborate explanations on issues on the audit reports, the various audit reports. And we have asked you to get us some documents. When those are available, we may call you back so that we can go through those documents. And once again, we will say thank you, and we will hope to see you later on when we need you to clarify certain issues to us. So thank you so much. At this point, we would rise for lunch for 1 hour and reconvene because we have another witness for the afternoon. Thank you so much. We can rise.